Apple One-to-One. That's right. It means it's time for the only Apple podcast with two former Apple retail employees. It has been a long time since we've been back here doing a podcast, but there was a scary event that happened recently, and we had to talk about it. I am Will, TLD, the former Apple specialist, creative and genius, and owner of WV Productions. If you need your wedding filmed here in New Jersey, there's only one guy to call, and that is me. But I'm always here with my partner, my friend, my former Apple creative, my former retired book publisher, soccer mom, Jurassic Park owner, black coffee drinker, the Journal number 12, the retirement home president, Mr. The Keto Trout Drummer. Because of me, he's keto. Frank Funk is here.
Hey, that's what's going on, man.
Not much. It's been a while since we've been face to face. What's that?
It's a good day today.
It is a good day today. I'm growing more. Since the last time we've been on a podcast, I grew a lot more gray hair. Yeah, it's time, ladies and gentlemen. It's time. It's also time to drink a little Zevia before we get started. Very important. To hydrate yourself. And we have to talk about what happened earlier on October 30th. For you publishing this on Halloween, so happy Halloween, everybody. So I'm excited. My son here, because we live in Toms River, they get to have Halloween the day before.
Why is that?
Because they have like the biggest parade, other than the one in the village. They have the second biggest parade in probably the United States. So by law, actually have Halloween on the 3rd, so everyone could attend the parade on the 31st. So we get kind of two Halloweens. We celebrate yesterday, and then obviously we are celebrating Halloween. So exciting stuff.
Yeah, very good. I'm sure Luke's enjoying it.
Absolutely, man. We have a Jurassic Park. We took one of those blue rolling, whatever they're called, cars, and then she spray painted, got the decals. It's Jurassic Park themed because I'm Alan Grant. She's Dr. Sattler. So it was really cool that we did something like that. So very fun stuff for this Halloween. But Apple did something even better than that because they came out with a new series of chips. This is a surprise event that last week was announced, and now here they are. They are a new series of chips called the M3. They are introducing three chips at the same time. We have the M3, we have the M3 Pro, and the M3 Max, and that comes with three Macs that came out today. Yeah. The new MacBook Pros, which are the 14, 16-inch MacBook Pros, and the iMac got the M3
I was
treatment.
Finally waiting for the iMac to get caught up, and they still didn't bring out a 27, but 24, I think the 27 is gone for good.
Well, I think there's a lot of businesses that would not like that because I think people want that 27-inch. I can tell you right now, based on even my own experience working in a educational environment as my main job, they want a 27-inch screen. I'm sorry, really? They just do. And 24 is fine, but I just don't think everybody wants a 24. So hoping that since Apple did not announce a Pro or a Max going into these iMacs, that the next announcement that they have that will include those items will be the iMac Pro. And that's the hope that we can hope for, right? So what was your overall, the one thing I thought that was great, which was a reveal at the end, and I love this. They shot that entire keynote with an iPhone, and they edited it on a Mac. So, which was a nice little nod that they did use an iPhone 15 likely to record this event, and everything looked tremendous. Obviously, there was a spooky theme. It was really cool to see Apple Campus at night, and that was obviously the idea.
Yeah, all dressed in black.
All dressed in black. Well, it was a half hour long, very quick. Did not take up much time of your evening to watch this. So, overall thoughts of everything we saw before we go into some of the announcements.
I mean, the first part where they went through all the specs of the M3, the M3 Pro, the M3 Max. I mean, for me, okay, but what I wanted to see was more towards the end. All right, these are the machines we're putting it in and the price points. So that's what I wanted to see. The tech stuff, I mean, it's important. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I was more excited that they announced the chips and tell us what machines they're in. That's
so what's interesting now is that the M3 MacBook Pro now starts with an M3 chip rather than a Pro. So one of the plus sides of that is that the price went down, because with MacBook Pros now, if you go back to the ones that have been announced, they've only had a Pro and a Max chip in it. They are now offering a regular M3 chip to be in the MacBook Pro, which I don't know, is a little weird, kind of almost like doesn't give Pro level, other than that the hardware is Pro because of what you're getting with it. Because of the display,
I think that might have been.
card.
I think that might have been directed towards those people that want a 14-inch screen, and maybe they're doing some light movie production, some light music production, word processing, keynote stuff, but they want that 14-inch screen. I think that's where that fills that void there. They don't have to go to the Pro chip when the processing they're going to be doing wouldn't really require it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's we just came with a new, a 15-inch M2. So now we have this 15-inch MacBook Air, and now we have a 14-inch MacBook Pro, and obviously you have to compare the specs of those two because now they're pretty close together. You're just looking at design being the only, and obviously the chip has been upgraded. That's obvious, but the architecture of the M3 is obviously much better. But you're also looking at how much is the chip of the M2 to the M3. Definitely not as big of a comparison like to the M1, which they did kind of break down. Yes. So it's just very interesting. But it has a more memory. That is one thing. That is something you're going to see in there. So there is going to be some spec differences. It's going to be very hard to try to explain it, I would say, between the pricing of the Air now, the 15-inch Air, and the it's $1,299 compared to $1,599. So $300 gets you this feature. You have to try to explain it. Now that's the thing you have to try to do is there a $300 value there?
Yeah, right.
Because the only thing that's really different, memory is the same, storage is just higher, 512 compared to 256 on the Air. So and then of course the XDR display is obviously a big thing. Obviously the size, the battery life, which was a major.
Yeah.
Did you see that battery life? That was incredibly high amount.
22 hours. I'm like, I don't know.
That's impressive.
If you can get 22 hours with your video editing, that's amazing.
Yeah. I think that's an incredibly amount of battery power. And this is where the M3 architecture, the 3-nanometer architecture, is what's in the M3, which is a first in a laptop. And you could see how that is now playing a role, especially in the battery life. So, like, if you had to tell someone for $300, besides screen size, which is a minimal of 0.9 inches,
right,
you're getting all this hardware, this M3 version of the chip. For now, it looks great. If the M3 goes inside of that Air, it lessens it a little bit. But right now, for $300, is it worth that value? That's what you have to try to figure out when you're trying to shop.
I think it's going to come down to what the customer is saying you're going to use it for. That's going to be the thing. Are they going to use the horsepower of the chip? If you're doing basic work, you won't need that. Yeah,
that's the only thing that will make things harder now with the MacBook Pro is that it doesn't start with a Pro lineup of chips. It starts with a basic chip. Right. And that's what we have to explain when you're trying to value. So that's why the Pro is it's a little weird. It is a little weird. One of the values, though, of having a Pro and a Max now is a new color, because they got rid of the space gray. They darkened it just a little bit more, and now we finally have a true space black Mac, which is awesome. Takes us back to the MacBook days where they had a all in black machine. It's been a while since we've had an all in black Mac, so it's good to see that they have brought that back for this model.
Just remember, that color was a premium. You paid
Mhm.
more for a
It was a
black Mac.
premium. Yes, you did, and you still do. But the price stayed the same. You know, 1999 is the starting
Yeah.
price for the Pro, same as it was before. Same thing with the 16-inch. So nothing has changed as far as what you're paying for it. So they had to do something special, and that's where the Space Black came in, which is great because I think it's another way to convince people to, you know, it looks nice. You know, you have the MagSafe that matches that color. So it's great to see that they did a little something different. It wasn't just the same hardware. Now the
Right.
look of it has changed, which is great. I think that's an added value there. But I'm impressed. Now you have to ask somebody: does someone with an M1 Pro or M1 Max? I'm not even going to include the M2 because there's no reason to do that.
Right.
But from an M1, like I have an M1 Max right now, will I value? Will I get the value out of a 16-inch? And I still can't say no because I love this machine so much that I have right now in front of me. It does everything I need to do so fast. And until the day comes where I notice something has changed, I don't feel it. I don't even feel the battery life even that bad. And I'm at a cycle count that's, you know, on its way to be, you know, by the third, fourth year that's going to need a battery change.
Yeah, maybe
That's it. And I still don't even feel that battery life.
well when they get to maybe an M6, then maybe you're going to say, oh, you know, yeah.
Well, I think they need to change some hardware around. I think that's a main thing. Like, let's say they add Face ID or they improve a port feature that I won't have. You know, they have to do things hardware wise because I've never bought. And I even look back and look at my history. I have never bought the same Mac design twice. Right? I've always had a different designed Mac every time. You know, starting with the 15-inch MacBook Pro, then we went to the Retina model. I bought a Retina. When we went to the USB-C model, I bought that one, and then I bought this one. So I don't expect me to change at all until another hardware design happens.
Yeah, it would have to be a big jump in the technology for you to purchase one. Now I have the M1, the Mac Studio, and the only mistake I made with this is the internal storage.
Yeah,
I definitely should have went for the internal 1 terabyte instead of the 500. But you know, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I mean that's something you have to make a decision now because you can't go back. So
right.
Yep. So one thing that's also been great about this new MacBook Pro lineup is thank God they got rid of the Touch Bar model.
I was waiting for you to put that in. Yeah, we should have had some confetti pop off or something. Or
oh my God, I'm so happy that is gone. Like I am beyond happy, which is why it explains why they put the M3 regular into the Pro. You know, now I mean it was just not necessary at all anymore. That Touch Bar model is dead. Goodbye to that.
Yep.
So
yeah, they didn't even have a going away party for it. Jeez, that's a shame.
No, we don't need a going away party for it. It's perfectly fine. There were things on it that were great, and I will tell you from a Final Cut, were things that were great on it, but you just had no feedback, and you couldn't even go to a regular F function key bar. You know, it was just like if they at least gave a shit about the, you know, at doing something to that touch bar, they just didn't. They just kind of let it go. You know? Just like when they did Force Touch on when we started with the iPhone 6s, when they had the Force Touch. You know, awesome feature. Got rid of it because then they just went with just like force tap or whatever it's called now, and it's not as good as having that feedback. I mean, they kind of made it in a way, but still, it's that's what I'm saying. They have a good feature in there, and then they kind of just don't do anything with it. Yeah, you know, even Dynamic Island. Maybe some people that it's not as great. I don't know. I don't have one yet. I mean, I'm planning to get an iPhone 15 soon, but.
Well, I use it with, you know, on mine. I do use a dynamic island. It's nice for the phone. If you have something running in the background, it'll go up to the top there. That's nice. So, I mean, but I'm not overly excited with it. You know what I mean?
Right. So we have to ask now, Frank, how much does it cost if I was to max out the MacBook Pro?
Oh, to max it out?
Yep. How much would that cost? Without looking it up. Don't look. Yeah, I don't know. You know how this works. I always make sure you don't look it up.
You're going to be about about 3,000 around there.
You sure about that? Because
I think so.
the Max starts at the highest max is 3,490. So
Oh,
you're a little off.
I'm a little off, huh? All right.
I want to go aim a little higher, Frank.
Well, that's what the what chip is that?
We're maxing the thing out. 16 inch.
Then you got to be 15-inch. If it starts at 3, you got to, easily close to 4, if not over.
$7,199.
Wow.
That's for an 8 terabyte SSD, 128 gigs of unified memory, which is crazy. And then that is a 16-core, 40-core GPU, 16-core neural engine for the M3 Max chip. That's whew,
that's what you need for your video stuff, man.
I stopped
video.
It's expensive. I'll be honest. I didn't upgrade the memory. The memory on mine, I didn't do all the upgrades that it asked for. And I'll be honest, like I said, I have not felt a need. Like, it really is that good, and I don't know. Maybe somebody will do it. Maybe there are some people that will do it. I already have a 32 gig, memory in here. So, once you go to the M3 Max chip with the 16 core instead of the 14, you're forced to have a 48 gig memories in there. You can't even do 36.
Yeah.
So bottom line is that it's up to you if you think that this MacBook Pro, it's just a small announcement. I'm glad they made it as, I think they should have included in the iPhone announcement. We're talking, not even like a little more than a month of a difference of time. Instead of having that 10-minute environmental video that really was just a time waster, they could have just put this in there and would have got the same thing out of it. So, they didn't have to do this little scary bit, but I feel like it was cool, something different that they do on this day. The final announcement was the iMac. The iMac did get an upgrade from an M1 to an M3. Finally, it completely skipped a generation. I'm glad they did it. It's very basic. The prices have not changed with that. They still start with if you don't want to get the Touch ID and you don't want to get the Ethernet port option built into there, then you'll get the $12.99. If not, you go to $14.99.
Yeah.
If you want to do that.
I priced out at the 24 with 24 gig of unified memory and 1 terabyte, and it's like $23.99.
If I max it out to 24 gigs of memory and then go to 2 terabytes of storage, you're looking at $2,699. For this Mac. And again, for pro users, obviously, I don't think an iMac is going to be in the cards. You didn't buy one. You ended up getting a Max chip, but
that's because they hadn't upgraded them. Remember, they were still with the M1.
Yeah, it would have been silly if you were to get that iMac because there's just nothing. You're missing stuff that you absolutely need to do. But I was just glad they kind of caught it up. I mean, it needed to be caught up. But still, I think that we need another option in an all-in-one lineup, and we don't have that yet. And I'm hoping next year they finally just bite the bullet and do it, because what's going to happen, especially at a lot of jobs, is you're going to see a lot of Mac Studios around with displays, and that takes up a lot of room.
Yeah, it does.
And I'm worried about that for myself, because then I got to deal with having a Mac Mini, or because we buy Mac Minis. And because Mac Minis do what we need to do. The Pro model allows more than one display, which is important for us, because if you go with an M3, you don't really have the option to extend your display out, except for you can only do one display. Basically, you're stuck with that. Where a Pro, you have the option to do 2 on a desktop. So that's important to know about that. So, that's what was announced today. There's really not much more else regarding that. Frank, do you have anything else to think about, say about, anything you could think of?
I think my overall impression was I was very pleased with the new chips. I think the enhancements with it, the amount of power that they consume is much less, faster processing, like you said, the exceptional battery life. And the iMac was included. You had 14, 15-inch MacBook Pro. So I think it's a great lineup, and you can get them in black if you want. Just like back in black.
Yes, sir.
So But
I
I
think
was
I think the battery life is a cool thing. I think when that hits the other devices that they have next
uh,
year, which I expect to be around March ish, or WWDC time. I think
right,
it'll be
right.
pretty cool to hit those on there. I think that the black color was great. I think I'm glad they're going to that color again scheme. Interesting enough, they still did not upgrade the keyboard and mouse to USB C. They still use Lightning, which is a
Hmm.
little interesting because, as you know, they have to go with the European agreement. They have to get everything on USB C, anything new that they sell. I don't, obviously, I don't think they have to do it to older products, but anything new has to be on USB C. So I'm assuming they're going to sell the iMac at the same, everything's going to be the same. Maybe when they
Right,
come up
right.
with a Pro model, which is a different model number, they're going to have to bite the bullet
Yeah.
on it. But right now, those are still USB, they're still Lightning connected.
Yeah, but that's only
So,
to charge them, right? You don't have to leave it connected.
yeah, but remember, legally, anything with a charging option in it requires a USB C port.
Oh, okay.
But
All
they're
right.
not upgrading the hardware of those devices. It's the same. Nothing has changed
Right.
physically in them. So that's why I think they're allowed to get away with it. But if they were to come out with a newer design, they absolutely have to go
Yeah,
USB
yeah.
C by that point. So we'll see what happens with it. Again, you could be in the market for an iMac. I think like my parents, this would be perfect for them. That iMac, they will totally like that version, and that's what I
Yep.
think it's for. I think it's for people who have iPads as more as a portable, and they have the desktop unit there, just there.
Right.
Beyond that, they're never going to need anything beyond it. So
Yeah.
I think it's a great upgrade. I hope that we see some content from creators on the speed differences and things like that. The battery drainage, I'm really curious to see that battery life,
Yeah.
because that's a game changing amount of battery, which we already had one game changer now of M1s and M2s. And now here we are with another big game changer in battery that no one has touched yet.
I mean,
And they are 3 years ahead of
yeah,
everyone else.
when they said 22 hours, I went, what?
That's crazy. I couldn't believe it was that long.
I was like,
That's an overnight thing, basically. That's like
yeah.
that's crazy. So exciting stuff, Frank. So glad we got back on the podcast. We hope you guys are enjoying all of our training videos. We keep popping those out every week, so you guys have
Yep.
some great content. The amount of subscribers that we have is amazing. What growth that we have seen here. We want to thank you guys. Please watch them, and if you have any requests for any kind of videos you want us to do, we'd love to hear them. I would love to do more content skewed towards you guys, what you like. We've been doing training videos for many years now, and we have over 3,500 subscribers. So thank you guys very much. And I hope that when you listen to the podcast, go back and listen to all the other great stuff that we have already produced. And we'll keep going every week with some new content. So, Frank, anything you want to say before we head out?
No, man, you did a great job as always. It's just wrap it up, and it was good seeing you. It was good doing the podcast, and we had some great stuff and a very short visit from Tim.
Yeah, and a scary one. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us for this amazing podcast. And I love every single one of you.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for viewing our content. Don't forget to click the like button and subscribe so you can see all our training videos as well as links to download our podcast.